you doing?
Very well. How you doing, Peter?
All right, I'm nearly getting blown away up the other night in Shetland. Gee whiz.
Are you? I seen your photographs. I seen your photographs you put up of the swell this morning. Big white horses coming in.
Usually, Karen and I always usually go for a swim in the sea on the Sunday, you know, but not today, I'm afraid. No. I think the emergency services have got more to worry about than tracking me down somewhere in the middle of the North Sea somehow. So,
you had a good week?
Aye, good. Yourself?
Yeah, good. The school that I teach at's on a break next week, so
okay.
I look forward to that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get that next week too. We've got a long weekend, so it'll be. It's nice just to get away from a computer screen just for a wee while. It's fine.
It is.
But ladies and gentlemen, good evening. Welcome. Lovely to see so many people joining us tonight. That's incredible, the numbers that's out there already. Remember, we're out live on Facebook on 3 channels. We're on Tartan Tunes and the Hoose, who we collaborate with, and my own channel, Peter Wood Music. We're live on YouTube, and we're live on Twitter and Twitch. That was the Twitch.
That was the Twitch. Yeah,
I think we've got about 6 people watch us on Twitch now, which is pretty good because we only had 1 for a long time. So I'm not sure what Twitch is all about at all, to be honest. Oh, there's Graham Jamerson. That's my drummer in having a watch tonight. Haven't seen him for ages. Haven't seen any of the band for ages. So.
Speaking of your band, how's the CD selling going?
CD selling's going. CDs are selling well, actually. They're fine, doing fine. And the new book's doing no bad at all. It's trickling out the door as well. Fine. So it's good. So it's been. Is all the snow gone with you yet? Or?
No, but it's definitely a lot milder tonight, and the rain's on. So 2 days of this weather and it's gone. I reckon. I'm happy to.
No, you know, up in Shetland when it's getting a wee bit warmer, when the polar bears only walking past you and things in the street and things. You know, it's just. So we've not seen any for a couple of days, so it must be getting milder. Anyway, welcome all you people out there. This romantic night when we'd normally all be wining and dining or doing whatever we're doing. Valentine's Day. Lovely to have you all on Valentine's Day. Lovely to see so many comments coming in. And Karen is backstage, my wife. She's working away with all that, and we'll put up certain comments and things. And if you've got any questions, if you pile them on, we'll certainly try and forward them to, as long as they're not too ridiculous. Any ridiculous questions will make it to the bin.
We'll be in touch with you after the show.
Yeah, that's it. We'll find you. Stand outside your house and play pipes 24 hours a day until you apologise. Right, so there's folk in Australia joining us. There's folk all over the place. Right, I'm going to play a couple of wee tunes to get us started tonight.
Great stuff. What you got?
Well, there's only 2 tunes I can really play tonight. Do you know that? And it's for my 2 Valentines, my 2 girls in my life. And
there you go.
The one tune I wrote for my wee girl Grace Elizabeth Wood, and the second slow air type waltz is one I wrote for my wife Karen and she used it when we got married. She went down the aisle to that tune. One of her friends played it for us. So I'm going to play that. So I'm going slow tonight, so I hope you don't mind. So we'll take it from there. Cool.
No worries. Take it away.
Great. See you in a minute. Go tune your drones.
I'll try.
Yeah. that's my little couple of tunes for tonight. For my
Very good, they're beautiful. I love those tunes. And that first tune works on the pipes as well, actually.
Yeah, you were playing. You've got a bit of that working. Yeah, it was sounding really, really nice.
Nice musical piece.
We're also really looking forward tonight, aren't we? We've got two incredible guests on.
Yeah.
Heroes.
This show's gonna.
Heroes tonight. Heroes. Donald McPhee, the piper, and John Carmichael, the accordion player. And I think we're going to have a brilliant night, folks. It's going to be really, really great fun. So, what are you going to give us tonight?
Good. Well, say that you played for your Valentine. I better do it. I'll be in trouble. So I'll play for mine. I'll play for Gwen. It's a tune I wrote for Gwen last year. So it's a tune called Marnock. And I'll finish with a great tune by Gordon Duncan called Zito the Bubble Man.
You know the story of that tune, don't you?
I've heard a few.
Well, I remember Gordon actually told me the story of that, but he said that he was playing with the Tannahill Weavers. The Tannahill Weavers, it was a festival in Russia somewhere or something. And they would buy, and the big poster was up, and at the very top of the bill was Zito the Bubble Man. And right down at the very, very bottom in tiny wee letters was the Tannahill Weavers. So Gordon thought it was hilarious. So he wrote a tune for Zito, the Bubble Man.
Brilliant.
Something else.
Good stuff. Right, I'm going to play that. I'll do my
Take
best
them away.
to play it anyways.
Take them away.
Right, thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.
Good man. You there?
The wheels came off in the last part there, but
Oh, okay.
that's what happens with live music, I'm afraid.
Yeah, absolutely. It just proves we're not at it. My wheels have come off many times. So it's a great wee tune, though, isn't it? It's a fantastic tune. There was somebody in Bewley saying they'd had a terrible reception tonight, but unfortunately it's just the internet, folks. Sometimes you get areas that it works, but everybody else seems to be hearing this and it's all going absolutely fine. So I liked your first wee tune there, though, the first one that you wrote.
Yeah, it's lovely. Yeah, it's good. I've had
Nice
a couple of different people
it.
on different instruments. Yeah, it's nice. I've had a couple of folk on the guitar and folk on the whistle send it. I've sent it and they've sent it back, and it's lovely.
Brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen out there, can I remind you, please, to please share this for us. Share it all over the place. If you see a share button, just hit it. I don't know where it shares it to. It could be Saturn or Pluto. I'm not very sure, but it's fine. We don't mind broadcasting all over the world and a few other places as well. It's absolutely fine. Anyway, Ross, getting out to guests tonight. I can't wait for these guests. I've been looking forward to this all week. I have.
So have I.
And
a couple of cracking guests.
I think we'll just get on with things, and I think we're going to bring on first Donald McPhee. Donald is down in Glasgow. Hello, Donald.
Hello, gentlemen. How are you? It's good to be with you.
Absolutely brilliant. How are you getting on?
I'm doing okay. Yeah.
Brilliant. And, I was right in saying you were in Glasgow there.
Alexandria.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that a posh part of Glasgow, is it? Yeah.
Loch Lomond. Near Loch Lomond.
Oh, yes. It's lovely up there. It's lovely up there, isn't it?
That's where my wife's from. So, yeah, my wife's.
Excellent. Brilliant.
So, yeah.
Well, I can only thank you so much for coming on to us tonight and joining us. It's fantastic, and I can't wait to speak about a wee bit about your piping career and reed making and playing. And thank you very much. You sent me a new reed this week, and you sent Ross one.
I did, yeah.
And I was really impressed, and I was reading it today about how you sort of source what strength a reed somebody wants when you asked them to play a 6/8 march on the chanter. And
well, yeah, we want to, just as pipers, we want to keep things simple, and they've got these contraptions called manometers, and in order to build one, you'd need a PhD degree in order to do it. It's got tubes and it's got water and all this kind of stuff, and just mouth blow a 6/8 march, and how many bars that you can play, because everybody has basically got the same capacity of lungs. Whatever bars that it is, then that's the strength that it is. The problem sometimes is, Peter, is that that people aren't taught bars and beats and that kind of thing. So they want a really easy read, but it's a 4-bar strength, and you're like going, oh right, okay, yeah. But
I was absolutely delighted with my one, and I think I asked you for a medium, and it's actually delightful because it's blowing even easier than I thought it would. So that's magic.
Good to hear. Thank you very much.
What did you get, Ross?
I got an easy, and I'm delighted with mine as well. Just coming.
Ross has got a hernia, right? Just getting over a hernia when you're on the phone with Bob Worrell. You were mentioning that you had a hernia operation.
He's been going on about this for a while now. I'm starting to have my doubts.
I'm fully recovered now and getting back into piping. But for the good part of last year, I was actually doing. We'll talk about Jean Swanson maybe in this interview. She's a friend of yours.
Absolutely.
I was piping for her. I was piping for Jean on a Zoom dancing all through the summer, and I had to wear a kilt belt round my sorbet, if you like, while I was playing. I couldn't play for long, but
Jean and John are very, very dear friends. They're in Logie Rate, and Jean and John Robertson. So great people, very, very kind people, and a very, very dear friend of the families too. So
yeah, fantastic. We had them on the show one night, and we had a great night chatting to them as well. It was really good. So Donald, where did you come from in the States before you arrived here?
Yeah, I was born in Michigan, and then my dad got the job of teaching bagpipes in Dunedin, Florida. So we moved down to Florida, and my dad taught there for about 4 years. and that's where I grew up. Was in Dunedin, Florida, and
Okay.
I was educated in Houston, Texas. I went to university in Houston, and so yeah, went MacPhee by name, MacPhee by nature.
Yeah. Travel about. But the thing is, when you went to, you were obviously brought up with piping round about you since a very early age.
Yeah.
And was your father born and bred out there, or was he brought up in?
Yeah, both my mom and dad were. They were both Americans, but their parents moved over after World War One, and the place that you went to at that time in the States, the big booming industry at that time was the motor industry. So all four of my grandparents moved to Detroit. They immigrated to Canada first, to Ontario, and then they moved down to Detroit, and that's where actually I was born and spent the first 9 years of my life there. And so and then we moved down to Florida. But my dad's parents are from South Uist and Plockton, and my grandparents on my mom's side are from the island of Lewis, Shawbust and Carlowy. So yeah.
Okay. You know, it's amazing how many people we have on this show that have connections to South Uist.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing. It must have been an absolute musical hub or something at some point, South Uist, because there's so many connections to it. It's unbelievable.
Well,
and then, so you moved over here. You've been over here about, what, 25, 26 years now or something?
3 years going on 24. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm married
and enjoying
my
it?
wife, and so yeah.
Brilliant. So you moved over and you're right and steeped in it now here, aren't you? You're right in the middle of it.
That's it. Well, as busy as I am, my wife's heavily involved in the Highland dancing, so it keeps us both out of trouble. So yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
What I was thinking was, if we've got some tunes you've sent in for us, I'm just going to explain to folk as well. Sometimes the big pipes don't come over very well when we're doing live stuff on the internet, folks, but they do better in recordings. So that's why we're doing recordings tonight, so you get the best quality at home. We don't want you having these class players on and it sounding like underwater. We don't want that. There's so much moisture you can have in a reed, you know. Right. So what about this? We could take this first wee one, Donald. It was an air and a 2/4. I think you sent us in.
Yeah. The first one is a fond kiss for Valentine's, and then the second tune is Duncan McInnes, a Peter McLeod tune. One of the foundation tunes that my dad taught a lot of his students. So one of the reasons.
Fantastic.
So yeah.
Brilliant. Let's take that away and then we're going to have a
Good
chat.
stuff.
That's fantastic. Fantastic, Donald. Lovely.
Thank you.
Really, really nice tunes. Ross, how are you getting on there? Can you see us now? Ross, can you hear us? I think Ross, he sent me a wee message there, but I'll let Karen sort Ross out, Donald, because I think he's got... oh, there's Bob Matheson. Goodness me, they're all here tonight. Fantastic. Hope Robert's doing fine. So tell me, you got involved, was it solo or pipe bands first, Donald, that you were getting involved with?
Well, my dad taught me and started off in pipe bands when I was very, very young in Florida, and then went through the system there. I played up in Ontario with the McNish Distillery pipe band, and then Colin McClellan and Scott McCauley's band, Scott's Dunvegan, up in the Ottawa area, and then moved to Houston, had my own band there called the Hamilton Pipe Band, and then when I moved over here, played with Scottish Power the first 5 years I was here, and then the last 9 that I was playing with the band was with Field Marshal Montgomery.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, well, you can't do much better a pedigree than that, really, can we? That's
very well.
Did you say you played with Scottish Power as well?
I did, yeah. The first 5 years that I was over here, I played with them. I was teaching at the Piping Center, it was called at the time, and Roddy asked me, he said, if you're not doing anything on Monday and Wednesday nights, why don't you come join the band? So I played with them. I had a great time, a great band to be a part of. And when Roddy left the band, I got the opportunity to join FM. So I jumped at that chance.
That's that would be amazing. That must have been an amazing band to go into, Field Marshal.
Yeah. At that time, we the band had a few players that were in the Glasgow area, and it seemed the longer I was in the band, the more the Glasgow players kind of grew. So the band would have band practice here, and then he would design band practices on Saturdays, and you'd fly over and you'd do that, and a great experience, a great 9 years I had.
So you used to fly over, maybe once a week or something at times?
No. Richard would set out a schedule of one Saturday band practice a month, and then when it hit April, it was twice a month through from April, May, June, and then July. And when we went over there in the months of May and June and July, the band competed and then practiced well. So it was
an absolutely incredible pipe major as well, Richard. But
that is,
amazing.
Yeah.
I think I spoke to you on the phone the other day when we were chatting, and I said I'd been speaking to Rab Lennox, the Big Rab Show, and Rab had him on doing an interview just before Christmas, and I found it highly amusing that, we ask these questions, what have you been doing in lockdown and things like that, and people come up with, I've been learning the banjo, or I've been doing this, or I took up cooking or something, and Richard Part says, I've been doing lots of running. And I was like, running? What? Yeah. And now I go to work earlier so as I can always, gee whiz, what a guy. Some guy. And I did, to hold down a full-time job and keep a band together at that standard, it's unbelievable.
He had a really successful solo career as well, and he decided to just focus on pipe bands for the past, 25 years or so. He won the jigs at the Northern Meetings at least once, if not twice. So he had a solo career as well. So But
there's Willie McDougall said Doddle makes the finest chanter reeds. I agree.
Thank you very much, Willie. Thank you.
A point on the successful run that Richard Parks had. A lot's to be said for the commitment that the players, you can't build a team that has that run of success without having a lot of very dedicated people, you know, that are playing at that level. It's because nobody's professional by such. You know, everybody's holding down full-time jobs. There may be a few that are music teachers or teach here and there, but everybody, the pipe majors, everybody, all the drummers, the standard's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely amazing, absolutely incredible. And they were just such an entertaining and solid band to listen to. It was just so nice to hear. So that was it. So that took you there. So I think we'll have another wee tune here, because you sent us a couple of 6/8s, and we were going to speak about something else before, but Ross got lost with the internet. But we've got him back now, and I want him to lead in with the next bit with the solo stuff and things. So, and of course 6/8s could be solo, but we'll maybe play the 2 6/8 marches this time, and hopefully I've not confused Karen either. What were these 2 6/8s, Donald, you're going to have for us tonight?
Major John McLennan of the Gordon Highlanders and Steamboat. Just a couple of nice 6/8 marches. So.
Yeah.
Fantastic, fantastic. Donald, I love it. I love it. Just love it. I just love the expression and you know yourself, the bagpipe, an incredibly difficult instrument to get that expression on, and because we're sitting playing at the same volume the whole time. When I play the accordion and play a set of 6/8s or 2/4s, I can accent notes and play at different volumes and things, and folk go, "Oh, listen, wow, that's it." But you have to do that. You have to do that with your fingers, and that's the only way you can do it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Peter. Thank you.
Yeah, it's getting 6/8s and 2/4s. There's 2 time signature tunes that you can tell a lot about a musician. You can get a lot of music into these style of tunes. So fantastic.
Just before we go on to your solo career as such, there was a question come in there earlier, actually, and you do quite a bit of judging as well now, Donald.
I do, yep.
Solo and band. And there's that, somebody put in that question there and said, what's the most common thing that judges would look for in young solo pipers, do you think?
In order, give a piper mobility and have him move up and become better players and stuff like that. Clean fingering and clean technique. The bagpipe isn't as important as it is in the young players, but what you're wanting to hear is you're wanting to hear clean technique, no crossing over noises, nice open doublings, work that can be built upon in order to become a better player that way. If you don't have the clean technique and you don't have the clean fingering, it's very, very difficult to move off of that plateau. If you've got that to work with, then that plateau is a whole lot easier to build from. So if I could give any advice to any young players, is nice clean technique, nice clean playing, no crossing over noises, and listen to your teacher. So.
Yeah. I like that. Listen to your teacher. I can't remember who was it we listened to once that said even pipe majors should have teachers because it's not a bad thing to keep you going to drive you on, you know. And I quite like that idea actually. So, yeah. Ross, I'm going to hand over you to talk about solo careers and things.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. You have had a very good run on the solo as well. How you've fit all this in is unbelievable. But like to start with, a former winner at both the Argyllshire Gathering and the Northern Meeting. I think maybe if you could explain a little bit about these two competitions, because they're huge, absolutely huge competitions in the Piper's calendar. It's not just anybody that gets there either.
Absolutely, Ross. The Argyllshire Gathering has been going on for probably almost 200 years now, and the Highland Society of London sponsor a gold medal competition for Pembroke. And at this gathering, they have solo bagpiping competitions, and the light music events are marches, strathspeys and reels, and once you win the one event, then you're either, if you win it in the B grade, then you're up to the A grade. If you win the A grade, then that's you into the former winners. And that has the same kind of setup in the Northern Meetings, which is in Inverness. The Argyllshire Gathering is generally the last Wednesday and Thursday before Cowell. Okay, just kind of what you know as far as that time period. And the Northern Meetings is generally the first midweek in September. Although there was talk of this past year with the lockdown that they were going to hold those closer together, both of those being in August. So that hasn't come out yet. But once you win one event, then you graduate into another event, and then you're in former winners. So I won the marches at the Argyllshire Gathering in '93, and I won the marches at that's the A grade marches in the Northern Meetings in 1994. So I was in both former winners events, and won the gold medal at the Northern Meetings in 2005. So moved over here in '97. So I was in both former winners competitions before I moved over here. So yeah.
And how long do you need to prepare for the? I know you said you'll have your circuit that you do. I know August is a very busy time of the year for the Pipers around all the circuits, around all the different Highland games as well. But
absolutely.
To prepare, what's the difference between getting ready to do your circuit with the pipe band? Because I guess with some of these dates that you've just said, you will have been playing for Field Marshal when you were competing at solo at high level as well.
That's right. When I joined the band, it was very much the focus was the band. It wasn't the solo career. So I was very fortunate to have a lot of the big prizes behind me before I joined the band, because he would hold band practices like the same weekend as the Highlands and Islands Festival, which is the first weekend in May. And it was frowned upon if you went to a solo event and there was a band practice going on. So it was commitment when you join the band that you're here to join the band, and being a part of the band is for you to rehearse with the band as well as compete with the band. And they were very much interested in you proving yourself at band practices, so that when it came to competition day, it became a whole lot easier. So it's a very, very busy time period. And then of course add on to the piping for dancing that I do, and it makes for a full long summer. So
a full long summer. And you mentioned earlier the Highland Society of London sponsored the gold medal, and that was one. You're a gold medal winner. Of course.
I am, yeah.
And that was at the Northern Meeting. What year was that year? What year did you win the gold medal?
2005.
2005.
Yeah.
And by winning a gold medal, that opens you up into other
the class
competitions as well.
Yeah, into the clasp and senior pre-brick. That's what the clasp competition is in the Argyllshire Gathering. So
yeah.
Do you have a favourite? I mean, do you enjoy playing as much with the band as you do solo, or vice versa? Or even when it comes to solo, do you like the light music or the big music?
I enjoyed my time with the band. The pipe band that I'm with now is the RSPBA Adjudicators Panel. That's what I call them. So and I very much enjoy that group. Sam Young, who's listening down in Australia. Hey Sam, how are you?
Yeah.
Your pipe major has got a big birthday on Tuesday, so very happy birthday to your pipe major. But no, getting back to that, I guess where I'm most comfortable is at the side of a dancing platform, because I've been doing that since I was a kid, and really you never think about, geez, if you mess up here, you mess up everybody, and I enjoy competing. I did enjoy my time with the band, but it was time for me to go when I went, and I had a place to go to. I'm very, very grateful that my wife is heavily involved in the dancing, and they have an examining bodies, and these were out there when I first moved over. And Christine, she said to me, "You're getting out there, you're doing these exams." So I started doing these exams when I was newly over here. So you take these exams and you take these certificates and you do all that kind of stuff, and one leads to the next, leads to the next. So it when it came time to go, I had a place to go to, and I really enjoy my time as far as being an adjudicator. But I guess I'm most comfortable at the side of a dancing platform, and I enjoy. I love playing for really, really good dancers, and it's great to see the young ones coming up, and they deserve to have the best music that they should have as well. So I enjoy that too. And can I say that sisters in Houston, Texas? Sorry about that, guys, but anyway, I can't do these shout outs without saying hi to my two sisters.
Please
I love you both. So anyway, sorry.
Please, no, you say no problem. What was it? The dancing thing's amazing. I think we had a laugh one night, Ross, wasn't it, when we were talking about playing for Highland dancing? And what was it we came up with? The ultimate mistake was coming out of a 9/8 and going into a 6/8 by mistake or something like that.
I accidentally rolling into 9/8 by accident. That's you.
And that's you. You've had it. There's no point of return.
P45. But to mention a couple of points about the dancing, actually, it's one of the things. It's one of my favourite things about. I'm not a competing piper at all, and I'm not in a top level pipe band at all. Not a competing one, but the piping for dancers I've got a huge amount of pleasure. Pipe, that's a whole completely different discipline, and I think it's one that young people, all these young people that are coming through, there's a lot of young pipers coming through at a very, very high level, lots of them, and I think it's something that they should have a bit of experience in. There should be something that they definitely have a go at or get exposed to in some way, because it's a completely different discipline. and it's great
Absolutely.
for confidence. Yeah.
Somebody that knows you just come up on the screen there, Donald, I think.
That's my sister. So yeah, I agree, Ross. So when you look at a dancer do the Highland Fling, the tune that you play for it is a strathspey, and a strathspey. When you look at a Highland dancer dancing the fling, they don't spend a lot of time on the ground. Once they're on the ground, they bounce back up again. So in order to have that lift and create that lift and kind of do what a strathspey does, it kind of helps fall into place. So and I'm really lucky. Last 5 years, I believe, at the Royal Conservatoire, I've been teaching a master class on piping for dancers. So I'm educating as many as I can, so that when they decide that they want to do it, that come on over, guys, and kick me off away from the side of the platform, without a doubt. Yeah,
it's fantastic. It's so. I'm watching these stories coming in here at the side, and people saying, "Yeah, Donald says he enjoys playing for the dancers, but the dancers absolutely love it when Donald plays for them."
That's very good. Thank you very much.
So I think that's an absolute. That's just the result you want, isn't it? Because it is a two-way thing, isn't it?
Absolutely.
If you can feed each other. I know I play accordion in dance bands, and I look out at the audience, and if the audience are enjoying themselves, it feeds back. We play better, so on it goes, and so on it goes. So it is a
and before we go off dancing, when you're talking about dancing, you mentioned your wife was a dancer, but she wasn't just a dancer, was she? She was quite successful.
Yeah. She, very, very successful, 6-time world champion, and was awarded an MBE for her services to Scottish dancing in 2017, I believe. Went down to Buckingham Palace, and that was a great day. And my in-laws were there, and just tremendous. And I'm a very, very lucky guy. I'm married to my best friend and the most beautiful woman in the world, who happens to be a great dancer. So
fantastic.
It's really nice. It's a lovely story. It's fantastic, and just great. Yeah, my sister used to dance, and when I was little, for about 8 years old, I got chucked along to play the pipes for them at the examinations, and things. And it could be quite a long day sometimes when you went through all these steps.
Absolutely.
Which reminds me, you brought a new CD out not long ago there, and I was talking to you about it for the dancing, and it's got about 60 tracks on it. It's amazing.
That's it. Yeah, it's a download. That was the third and the last one I've done. So my first one was done with my two sisters over in the States, Diane and Donna. And then when I moved over here, it was Christine that wanted to change this and that and add on some other tracks and stuff like that. And then the download that I did probably 2 years ago, 18 months ago, I was getting a lot of feedback off of dance teachers and dance adjudicators and examiners, and Donald, wish we had a 3-step floor, and wish we had this, Donald, wish we had that, and could you play at a slower tempo, could you play at a faster tempo? So there's a bunch of different tempos on there, a bunch of different tracks, and hopefully it serves everything that you need as far as for examinations or competitions. So
where's the best place for people to get that from, Donald?
Well, on my website, MacPheeReads.com. It's also on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Tunes, iTunes, all that kind of stuff. So it's a download. It's called The Definitive Collection. Thank you.
And of course, that website address there, folks, if you want the best quality pipe chanter reads going.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you.
And thank you, Donald. I'm sure I'll sort you out with one. It depends how long you can play a 6/8 for, what strength you'll get.
If you're unsure, just drop me an email. I'll help you out all I can.
Fabulous. Brilliant. Ross, you were going to... I'm going to ask.
No, when you're talking about your CDs are brilliant. And when I've got one of your CDs, I think it's Dancing to Perfection. It's a double CD. Yep. But I'm very sorry that I didn't buy it. I actually borrowed it off Jean about 15 years ago. So
And have you
She's
given it back?
probably, I think I've told her twice I don't have it, but I do. So I'm in trouble. I'm in trouble now.
She's watching. She's watching tonight. You've had it.
And I'm in trouble.
Yeah, brilliant.
But I
Ross,
promised to buy you a new one.
I was wanting you to take along with the next bit with the Pibroch, because you've played a wee bit of Pibroch. I'm a piper that was never taught Pibroch when I was young, Donald. I was taught in a band and never taught Pibroch. But Ross has a bit.
Either, really. Mm-hmm. I never really learned Pibroch until I joined the army, actually. And then I was lucky enough to go on courses, a couple of courses that were long enough to actually absorb it and get. But I do wish, as soon as I did start learning it, I wished it was something that I'd got into, because it's a beautiful form of music, and as a piper, I think it completely changes the way you listen to your piper. If you've never played one before, when you do start learning it, it does change. And I had an incredible success with your Pibroch playing, and you've wrote one as well, which is in the next video we're going to show. You say a bit about this, yeah?
Yeah, please. When I was a member of FM, Richard Parks won. He won the Grand Slam in 1993. When I was in the band in 2011, he became the only pipe major to win 2 Grand Slams. So that off season, I wrote this tune and I called it "Salute to Pipe Major Richard Parks, MBE." Lo and behold, in 2013, he's got 3 Grand Slams under his belt. So I just thought it was a type of tune that warranted the name, and vice versa. And anyway.
Yeah,
that's great stuff. So we're going to play this. Yeah, we're going to play the ground and a little bit of the first variation of this tune in the video. It's lovely.
And then folk can go on YouTube though, can't they, and hear the whole thing if they want to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's on YouTube. So I can't believe, by the way, Donald, how many people are joining us tonight. I don't think I've ever seen such a big audience for this show live.
Oh, well, that's great, Peter.
Thank you very much. You and Mr. Carmichael here, we've got you on every week, I think. Anyway, we're going to have a wee listen to this. What did you call the tune? The Pibroch in full, and what this one's called?
Salute to Pipe Major Richard Parks, MBE.
Fantastic.
Beautiful.
There we go. Wow.
Absolutely brilliant. Great stuff. And that's great to hear such a fresh sounding pibroch. There's quite a lot of new pibrochs that are getting played. And what's your opinion on that? There's a lot of people that might have an opinion that pibroch should stay in one little area, but I think there's lovely to hear new ones getting played.
Yeah, without a doubt, it's the original form of bagpipe music that we have, and I'm amazed at all the tunes that are coming out. We only have 9 notes, and goodness sakes, we got tunes galore coming out and that kind of a thing. Especially on an instrument like what Peter mentioned before, we have no dynamics, we have no volume control. So how we do that is with agogic stress and with our technique and that kind of a thing. So yeah, if just never forget that it's music that's being played. Really, just try and make it as musical as what you can, musical as possible. So,
do you have a favorite? What's your favorite?
Well, I would have to say his Father's Lament for Donald McKenzie. That's one of my favorites. Lament for the Children is, of course, another great tune, and Donald Dougal Mackay, great tunes. So yeah, those would be my top 3.
Yeah,
very good. Great stuff. Absolutely.
See, quickly going back to the Highland dancing, I got a gift of this through the post this morning from Donald. It's Donald CD, the complete collection. Now, I'm not sure if he means me to learn the tunes and the pipes or learn the dances. But
dances, please.
Do you think I should try the dances?
Absolutely.
I couldn't help you with the dancing. You need some structure of a platform to support me dancing. I'll tell you that much. So, anyway.
Me too. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I don't think my house is insured enough for me to start loafing about the place. But no, it's been absolutely fantastic, and just so interesting hearing all your stories. And have you any particular stories that really stick out in mind as the great fun thing that you never imagined could happen when you were piping somewhere?
Well, I spent quite a few summer schools teaching with Alistair Gillis. So at that time he was moving to the States and I was moving over here, but I told him about my wife Christine, and the Highland dancing, and of course he was very, very much interested. Can she knit kilt hose? Does she have a valid driver's license? Can she make a plate of mince? So anyway, I was staying in touch with him, and I was letting him know that I was going to propose to Christine. So anyway, I was staying in touch and went, and he said, "Well, big man," he says, "how did it go?" I said, "Well," I said, when Christine came to the States, picked her up in a horse and carriage ride, and then we went to a really, really lovely restaurant where she was met with a glass of champagne and a dozen roses, and we had a great meal. And it was just a great night. Now,
Donald, sorry to interrupt, but you're really making Ross and I's life very, very difficult tonight.
Well,
horse and carriages and roses.
Well, I came up to this, and I told him the whole story, and he goes, "Goodness sake, big man, I would have married you after that performance,
Fantastic. Brilliant. Donald, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on tonight, and we could speak to you for hours and hours. I think there was something you were wanting just to say quickly, maybe. Is Christine watching tonight by any chance?
She is. Yep. I hope so.
All the best, Christine from Shetland and Pitlochry.
That's it. Well, both of you gentlemen had played tunes that you composed for your wives, and of course you, Peter, your daughter, and I composed a tune for Christine before we got married, and it's called "The Maiden on the Shore." And I'm the luckiest guy in the world. I'm married to my best friend, and like I said, the most beautiful woman in the world. So just a wee something to kind of convey to her that, and this is the tune.
Fantastic.
Very good.
Happy Valentine's Day, honey.
Well done. That's smooth.
Beautiful.
That's smooth. That's beautiful. Beautiful tune.
Yeah.
Beautiful story. And so nice to see these photographs there, Donald, when you see the things you have been through together.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah.
Standing with even Karen noticed today, she says, "Is that the World Pipe Band Championship trophy they've got there?" And I said, "Yeah, that's it."
Yeah.
But so nice to see you together, and we can only wish you all the best for the future. Donald, thank you so much for giving up your time to come on, and please keep in touch with the show. It's been so nice. So many people have enjoyed it. And
Ross, can I say just thank you very much? And as far as Peter goes, you wake up in the morning, it's love to have a cup of coffee. I think this morning it was a tango, and just keep playing the music that you are. Love the show. Love your music. Love your interpretation and everything that you do. So thank you both very, very much. It's been a pleasure to be a part of the show.
Donald, thank you.
Much, Donald.
Thanks very much. Good night, Mr. Good night.
Cheers.
What a gentleman, eh?
Oh, I'm in awe. I'm in awe of the man. You're fantastic.
What a track record. I must apologise for dipping out there. My internet seemed to fail me, but I'm sure you would have talked about it. I missed it. I'm sure you would have talked about the amount of major championships he was part of with Field Marshal.
Well, kind of what we jumped onto was the pipe band side, because I knew a wee bit about that, and I wanted to speak about the people, so we just watched around a wee bit. But
the very, very top level. Yeah, the very top level. Just the loveliest guy at the same time. Just great.
But you know, ever since we announced we were having him on the show, there was so many people got in touch to just say what Ali Meeks just said there. A true gentleman, absolute gentleman. I haven't heard anybody say anything different. And Big Donald, great guy. That's what they were all saying. And nice to see Rab for Big Rab's show joining in there earlier.
Yeah. I think I seen Roddy McLeod. Roddy McLeod. I seen him pop up, and Peter McGregor as well. Great pipers.
Lovely to see all these people. Right. We're going to pile straight on. This show's going great, and this is going to be great fun as well. We're going to bring on the one and the only John Carmichael.
Here we go.
Yep. Hello, John.
Hello there. Still here. Here we are. Enjoyed that very, very much. That was great. Fantastic. Really was.
How are you getting on? He's an awful nice big fellow, isn't he?
Oh, he certainly is. Aye, what a talented guy. Aye, and so nice with it. Aye. Oh,
you can tell he must have come to America with all that romance in his bones. He didn't pick that up in Alexandria.
Not in the It was obviously sober too, so that's not helped.
She was. No, but how are you getting on, John? How are you doing?
I am doing fine. I just like everybody else, dodging away here, dodging away, telling lies and things, usual.
That's okay. That's fine. But it's fantastic to have you on. The two of you and me ended up in the nominations for the Musician of the Year last year.
Well, I think that was a mistake, but you maybe wanted something,
What was I going to say? I was trying to think back the other day to the first time we really met, John, and it was about 35 years ago now or something. At Ayr Accordion Club, you used to come down and MC. Did you stay in Ayr at that time?
No.
No.
That's right. But then another time, and you might not remember, you played at my daughter's wedding.
I do remember that. With Ian MacPhee, didn't we?
Yes.
That was at a hotel in Glasgow, wasn't it?
That's right. Aye. The Thistle or whatever it was called. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I do remember that. That was a great night as well. Great fun. But and then you had a son, John, as well. Did he play the box as well, didn't he?
Well, I've got 4. There's 2 girls and 2 boys, and they all played. They all went. But that one you played at Fiona, my eldest daughter, she won the Junior Girls Championship at Perth. They all went to the Jimmy Blair School, and thanks to Trina, my good lady, she took them. I just kind of dodged about and kept out the way, Made the team.
Did you ever come to that site? Did you ever enter competitions? Did you ever?
I won Perth myself, 1964.
1964?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. I don't remember that because that's 5 years before I was born.
Yes.
Can you mind what you played?
Pardon?
Can you mind what you played?
Now, I can't remember what march, but I played Highland Harry and wait a minute, what was that again? The real it's pipe tunes I played anyway, because there weren't so many people playing them then. Arthur Bignald, Highland Harry, and Major Manson. That was
fantastic. Good stuff. Brilliant. Great.
All in from the wife,
Yeah, well, because your wife is all from a very piping family as well.
That's right. We mentioned earlier there was 10 in the family, but 5 of them played. Four boys played, and my wife, the 5. And you were mentioning their pipe band. They did have the McFadgen Pipers at that time, because they played. They played at the Highland gatherings. Like the Lewis and Harris, especially the Mull and Iona, where they all came from. And that's why I was asking Donald there about. John was the kind of elder boy, and John won all these things. You the Brata Gorham and all that. As did Ian, actually. But they were all good players, the boys. I mean, I'm not a piper, so I wouldn't know. But they've all won all the bits. I think Ian was next to John Burgess as being the youngest player to win the gold medals. He was in the camp.
So they would all have been there to keep you right then, whenever it came to a 2-4 march.
Oh, it was sickening. You think you're doing so well too? It's not quite right, John. Hey, John.
So take me right back. Did you learn piano to begin with? A wee bit of piano?
Yep.
And then,
I was at piano. Piano for quite a number of years. And my mother played the piano and sang and all that. They were a very musical family, my mother's side. But I went to piano lessons for quite a while. I quite enjoyed it for a while, but then, I think many people, the kind of, looking back, I should have kept at it, but the music we're doing, the sonatinas and all that, dee-dee-dum-dum, dee-dee-dee-dee, oh. No, I liked what my mother played. She did the jigs and reels and big heavy duty Strasbass and all that, you see. So eventually the music teacher said, "You are wasting your time, take him away." Right? So I was probably about 13 then. And then by chance, my best pal at the time at school was a chap, Ian McLean from Waternish in Skye. He lived around the corner from me. And he was doing the same scenario, only on the accordion. He was going to accordion lessons, but he was getting, little bits and pieces that meant nothing. And they were very Gaelic. His parents, they spoke Gaelic in the house all the time. And all his mother used to say if I went round, what about a little Gaelic song? And Jill and Moolach, and you go, oh my gosh, you know. But anyway, Ian, they were giving him the wrong material. So eventually, you know, when I go to the house, I would say, can I try that? You know. And then eventually said, take it away, I'm sick of it, you know. So I borrowed it for a wee while. And I thought, this is no bad. The idea about the bass thing, mind you, still don't have much idea, but I was like foot on the boot with the right hand. And well, the one thing I did learn was a certain level of reading music. So that made that was a big difference. So anyway, after a wee while, I gave him it back and I went down to, in Glasgow, you wouldn't be aware of it, there used to be a shop, Chisholm and Hunters at Glasgow Cross, and it was a needle to an anchor they sold. And I bought this really old clapped out thing. And of course, my father had kicked up hell about me stopping the lessons. You're a waste of time, total waste of time with that. He couldn't even sing a song. Jeez, so he was a motor mechanic. That was all he could do. So, but anyway, when I bought this accordion, he says, "Oh no, we're not going to have to listen to that." But then it kind of I caught in with it and blah blah blah. And that I got quite into it, you know. So that was my musical education.
Musical education
learned on the spot.
All right. I think we'll have a wee set of tunes for you tonight just to get us going.
Get the earplugs in, Ross. Get the earplugs in. So you're all right.
Is this a wee set of jigs here?
Just the wee Jimmy Shan type, whatever, you know, to get us started. Well, I did them so quickly when you said, I don't know what I did. I must have sent these things to somebody else and no doubt they bumped them. You know, it was when you said you never got them. I went, oh my goodness. So,
hey, there's probably some wee guy in Nigeria printed them in CDs and selling them.
We'll not get much for them, I'll tell you that. You'll not get the money back.
Here's a wee set of jigs for John.
Right. A wee jig. We'll take a wee trip to Dundee. What do they say? Popular jigs? Aye, but for who?
Fantastic. Great stuff, John. I wanted to say a wee quick something, actually. There was a wee thing, if you don't mind, I'm just going to mention this. There was a girl called Karen Johnson sent me a wee message through the week, and she said, you couldn't wish my dad a happy 80th birthday on Tuesday. And there's a fella called Gordon Kerr. He's down in the borders of Scotland. So happy birthday to your 80th birthday, which makes me wonder, John, did Gary Blair write a tune for your 80th birthday?
He did, yes. Can he play it?
I thought I thought I saw it in his book the other day, and my goodness, sir, you're doing some job and I thought, James, when was John 80? And it was a couple of years ago.
I'll be 83 this year. Aye.
Well done, sir. You're doing fantastic.
You want to see it for this side, though? But here, Gordon Shand wrote a tune as well, so don't miss out on that one.
There you go.
A nice 6/8, which I must do. I keep promising them.
Gordon,
anyway, sorry.
Smashing player and a composer, Gordon.
Oh, aye. Well, like yourself, it's the same.
There you go. Gordon's just sent a wee comment in there. He's just sent a nice wee comment in.
Well, there you go.
So tell us, right, so when you left school, music wasn't your job to begin with.
No, I've got to be honest. I mean, I've worked in, if you've seen the rubbish I sent you, a totally rudderless career. And all the things, I mean, I've done a lot of things, and music is the least qualified I am for any of it. I've learned on the job. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I spent more time in music, I spent, I went, anyway, the long and short was I left school and I joined the Rolls-Royce and a trainee scheme for engineers, went to the Royal College of whatever the hell it was called, something now it's changed, sorry, excuse me. Anyway, I did my 6 years there, and then I went to sea, and I was about 4 years out in Australia and sea, not necessarily on the same bit, but then I went to Teachers Training College, Jordan Hill, and got my teacher's kind of certificate, and I was teaching in schools for about 12 years, roughly. Wow. And then
when you went to Australia first, then did you live in Australia at that point? No.
Yep. Well, I went out. Yeah, I went out on I'm giving you the wrong way around. Did the teachers training right after Rolls-Royce, and I was teaching for a few years. And my big brother, who's now 91, coming up 91, he was a skipper at sea. Right. But he was honestly at sea for 54 years. 54 years. Started as a deckhand on a puffer. Really? And he ended up, he was a pilot in the Gulf out and that for many years. But he came over to pick up the last ship that was built in the Blythe yards in the Clyde. And they were short of engineers, and I was desperate to kind of make a living. I was married by this time, and the teaching money was terrible. So he kept saying to me all the time, "You want to get back to engineering, John? That's where it's all at." So who goes to Australia on the ship? And then took my wife out. No, blah blah blah. So I spent about 4 years in Australia, sailing, mainly around Australia, New Zealand, and more locally, and occasional trips to Singapore. But I really enjoyed it. And while I was there, the luminaries used to come out. Jimmy Shand came out and played it, and I knew a lot of these guys before I went anyway.
I was going to say, had you been playing a bit then before you went there then? So was the tune John Carmichael's Farewell to Scotland that Andrew Rankin wrote then, was that at that time?
He came to London to see me off because I was playing with him.
Right.
See, but I did quite a bit with him, and we got on very, very well. And he met me in London when I was come back to get whatever we're leaving, and he said, "Come into the shop here." He was working for Selmers, for the accordions. So he says, "Come into the shop and see the stuff, blah blah blah." And he was always writing wee tunes like yourself. He was writing tunes regularly, and he said, "Wait, hear this?" He played this wee tune. He said, "What do you think of that?" "Oh, so that sounds a nice tune." "Aye, what is it?" He says, "I've just written it. It's for you." Well, you're like, oh my goodness, And then the next time I heard it was Ian Powrie recorded it about 3 years later or 2 years later. Anyway, that was that. There wasn't any big deal. I went away and did the sailing and all that. And then Trina, my wife, came back with one child by the time we were there. When we came back, Trina came home. Sorry, I'm telling a lie there. She came home to have the second child just for one of the McFadgen clan. She wasn't really missing, well, she's missing the family, but she just came home a trip. I was still at sea. And I was there maybe about, I don't know, 6-8 months after she came away. And I'm quite enjoying it. And then I had a big lump of leave, you know, about, I don't know, 2 months leave or something. And I just, well, you know what the sea, well, maybe you don't know, but the sea thing is, I just had a few refreshments one night and went down and bought a ticket home. Now, I mean, it sounds ridiculous in the day of today, but in those days, you could get a flight from Sydney to London for about 100 quid. I mean, unbelievable. It was still a lot of money, but anyway, I thought I'll go a trip home and then we'll go back out. We hadn't bought a house. We're on the point of buying a house in Sydney. We'll go back out. And then that's the point where Jim Johnston ruined a very good career in engineering for me. Never forgave him. Because I'd only been home a few weeks. We were staying with the in-laws in Glasgow, and everything was going great, wonderful. I'm in Edinburgh for a day, and I met Jim, whom I knew quite well from before, but never played with him or anything. And I hadn't played for years. I mean, I thought I'd given it up, that's it. Met him in Edinburgh. Ooh. And the last time I'd seen him was Sydney with Jimmy Shand, about 2 years before that. Anyway, what are you doing here? I said, I'm on leave. Oh, how long are you off for? I said, I've got weeks and weeks, thinking, you know. He says, you wouldn't like a wee job in the band? Oh, I said, I haven't played for ages. I said, what do you mean a wee job in the band? He said, I've got a summer season in Brighton. 8 weeks in Brighton, playing with the White Heather, the new White Heather club, Robin Hall and Jimmy McGregor. Right, so I said, I wouldn't be allowed that. Oh, no. And when we hope, well, you know what, anyone that plays music, you know, it's always there. You're like, that might be quite good, you know. When I go home, I try and break the news to my good lady who's living with her mother, as we all were. I said, mate, Jim Johnson. Of course, Frina had always been very like, do you want to do it? Do it. That was it. See, so I'm like, well, I'll just go back to Australia after it. I can write in and be a wee bit late. So I go down. That was the hook, you know. I mean, once you start that nonsense, you know, you're on the stage, there's lights, there's the dancers. No, but I mean, the music thing was, and I mean, the band, well, that was when we made The Measure of Scotch.
Well, yeah.
You know, Jim's immortal album, you know, and I mean the band, I mean it was, you know, Pam on the piano, Billy Tom on the drums, Billy Crabe, you know, on bass, Jim and me. It was just a 5-piece, and I mean the whole thing, I mean it was a totally new experience, and I was like at the start right out of my depth, and Jim was like, great, he would just go, you can play that, do it, you know, you know, and I mean it was just like instant learning. So by the time that was drawing to a close, out comes the page. Dear Mr. Sydney, I'm no coming back. Engineering. That was it. Off-ski. So, and then I played with Jim for quite a wee while on and off, but then like all musical things, as we all know, they don't last. You know, there comes a time when the season runs out, somebody dies, or you lose a contract. Jim was running out of work, and of course by this time I've got a wife, 2 Waynes, and I bought a house here, you know, so reality struck. Teaching, back to teaching. You know, and then I'll put this so I don't run away with all your time. Back to teaching.
No, we've got loads of time. It's great listening to your story. It's great. Right.
So anyway, back to teaching, and I got quite into the dedicated then, and the music was doing as you would do yourself and all that. A band thing at night, odd nights, but no overpowering going on. And then got involved with like the Callum Kennedys and the various other people, Alistair Gillis and all these, the sort of singer guys, and doing gigs. Everything's going fine. And then I got promoted. I was a principal, a guidance principal in a secondary school in Glasgow. Oh, it's great. Everything's happening fine. Another Wayne. Oh, you know, suddenly got a calm family, you know, and then I think another Wayne, the 4th one. See, so by that time I've got the head down with the teaching, and everybody's, you know, well, doesn't it take much before you become an assistant heady if you do the right thing? And that, what happens then? Guy comes from Canada, offers a series in CBC in Canada at like, you know, 10 times the salary you are earning. But of course, the high risk, like you don't know how long it'll last. So then it's, and then I get the same thing from my wife. You see, I go, what do you think? Do it. I've never forgiven her really for that either. That's just... So that here was me, glowing for the teaching, etc., etc. Anyway, went with Callum first, then Alistair Gillis, and we did this series called Cayley from Halifax, and it was Nova Scotia, of course. So, and it went coast to coast, right across Canada. Fabulous spot. It was on right after the hockey. Now, what could be more than for the hockey in Canada? My goodness, great viewing. Excuse me, and it lasted. We would go over and maybe do like 3 weeks and do 20 programs or something. Back over another 6 months and do this, do that, and it lasted just over 2 years, I think. But in the meantime, really? I found myself as one of the few freelance, reasonably experienced by this time, players that was available for folk like Jimmy Shand, Andy Stewart, Kenneth McKellar, all these folk couldn't get, somebody came to you with a thing, you've got your job, you would not, maybe at one point you could have, but of course I'm floating about and I've got this television thing, which was quite secure at that point and paid very well for the short time. Anyway, the television lasted about 2 years, 3 years. And then that was me. I had no band or anything. I was just, if somebody phoned you up, you want to go? A quick one is Jimmy Shand. Now, I'd never played with Jimmy Shand, ever, other than as when I had a wee trio at one point and Jimmy came on, he'd given his band up to do, he did a couple of wee spots. Well, as you know yourself, when you're dealing with folk at that level and so well known, you keep out the road, So just what do you want, Jimmy? Thank you very much. You'll get that. That's fine. No music, son, and anything like that. We didn't bother about the music and that. He'd no band. He'd given it all up. Don't worry about that. What is it? Well, be fine. And I mean, we all knew the tunes. So, and we got on fine, and that was all. It was all. And then out of the blue, one day, I would say this is about 1975, I think. One day out of the blue, phone goes. Hello, John, Jimmy Shand here. How you doing? And I was like, oh, I'm fine, Jim, fine. Never even thinking. I didn't know what I thought when he says, I just wondered if you'd maybe do a wee puckle of jobbies with me, a wee job or two. Oh, I said, that would be fine, Jimmy. What have you got a date in mind or anything? It would be the month of April and or maybe the month of March, I think, and 2 weeks into April. I'm going. Is that like a job? It's Australia and New Zealand, son. Oh, there's a different name on it. So that was the first trip with him, and then I did quite a number of trips with other people. But of course, I wasn't that long back from Australia anyway, So I was able to go to my pals and go, and they opened the door. They go, Haggis. I was called Haggis on the ship. I was only Scotsman, see, so. I heard you were in back in the UK. Oh, just temporarily. I'm just. So I mean, it was great.
Well, we'll have a wee tune, and then you can tell us about some of these trips, because there must have been some stories with Andy Stewart and Shand and.
Well, I suppose
some of the guys.
Give us a tune.
Callum Kennedy. What's this? You played a wee 2/4 march for us earlier on, didn't you?
Oh, aye, that's right. My wife taught me it. Mm-hmm. Yes. Good.
You better play it right then.
Well, she's at the toilet, I think, at the moment. So flash it, dear. Don't play it.
Brilliant. Let's take it away. Here's a wee 2/4 march for John.
There we go. Okay, a wee march this time, or two. probably know, Dr. Dorothy Main by Dr. McInnes, and The Means of Kintail by unknown. Well, to me anyway. Anyway, on to our next one, whatever that may be. We'll just stop this for a second. Toodaloo. Oops, there we go. I can't. Is it me or I've lost the sound?
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. Yep.
That's me. Sorry. That was absolutely swinging. Beautiful player.
Well, we don't know that. Good wee tunes these days. Oh, you'll know them anyway, Ross. You're both.
I've said this to just about every box player that's came on the show, that it's so good to hear these tunes played on a different instrument and by a master. It just brings them to life in a different way than what a piper or on the bagpipes can, I think.
Wait a minute. Frida!
I'm signing out.
Well, it's great. I mean, I just love the pipe tunes. Well, Andy, it's as you say, Peter, the Gaelic things. I've been involved in so much of that over the years. With the singers mainly. You just, it's like yourself with the Pembroke and that. You just get steeped in it.
Yeah, the Gaelic stuff, did that come along probably because of your wife's connections, etc.? Were you steeped in Gaelic as well, or?
Well, as I say, the boy I got that started me in the accordion, his parents were, especially his mother, used to sing the songs, and a lot of these tunes I play, I learned then, way back, just with the one finger and all that. But they were in the memory, So, but yeah, obviously with Freena's connection to we played at a lot of Kayleys. I met Freena at the dancing in Govan. She was playing. Our brother Ian was in the army. He'd gone to the Camerons. And Freena was quite young. She was maybe about, 15. And she took, I was only 18. I'm 3 years older. So I was just there. And she was up playing away, quite the thing at that point. So from then, I've been involved a lot in it. And then I got in, I used to do wee tunes for the Gaelic radio. And then I did the singers, which was phenomenal.
And you do the face things as well. You've been doing quite a lot of them, tutoring at the faces.
I've been doing them for quite a number of years. And mainly I've been doing Sky. There's a couple in Sky and Face Ross, which is the big one, And they are the biggest one, I should say. And it's so well organised, Face Ross. And they've got an adult one. And you meet so many friends. There's so many other players, that, as you probably know, you've probably done them yourself.
It's a great institution. It's a really brilliant way to learn for a lot of people as well.
Oh yeah,
it really works. It works well, and
I know.
And I noticed you had a wee video on the other day with you and Mr. MBE Fairgate.
Oh, aye, and I just looked tonight before we come on. Do you know how many views it's had?
No,
36,000.
What incredible, eh?
I mean, it's unbelievable, and that's his wee tune, the bent note. But he's some boy. But we were. I've known him for a long. Since he came to Glasgow, we first met. Then, But at one point, we used to be partners. There was 4 of us involved in a wee recording company called Shona Recordings, based in Fort William. And it was an absolute hoot. It was Fairgate. We were the trustees or whatever the hell. Partners, Fairgate, Norman McLean, not Tormund. If you know of, I don't know if you ever come across Norman, the Gaelic singer come pipe.
Oh yes.
So there was Fairgate, Tormund, and me, and there was an Alan McCall, the chap who owned the fabulous guy. He didn't play, did a wee bit of singing, but he wasn't really a musician as such. But he owned the coal yard. And they bought over the British Coal or whatever they're called in Fort William. And we used to have our executive meetings in the office of the coal yard as the lorries were tipping the coal up against the wall. And you come out like that, for coughing. What a laugh. I think we did, Bill Black did an album with us. We did about, let me think, probably about 15 albums over you know, and then to be honest, it gradually fell away because none of us had the time to kind of go out and sell the product, if you like. Fergie did the very first one, and I think I did the second, and then it was Norman. I can't remember. And we did Tommy Darkey. We did his, if you're, you know, one of his. And we did Flair, which was the big seller. There was a group at the time. Costello is still alive. The guy that played in it, the girl, I'm not sure where the girl is now, but they were the first to do the kind of Gaelic songs country style, you know.
Okay.
They were phenomenal. I mean, the first album we got, I can't remember whether we sold 6,000 or 10,000. You know, they came from Lewis, and the thing just took off. It was well done. I mean, we got top musicians to back them. You know, I mean, a whole kind of caper. And Costello's still on the go. That's his nickname, you know, Ian McKeever up in Stornoway. That was great.
You've obviously been lucky as well. You've played with an awful lot of characters over the years.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, you done the thingamajig television thing. You done the one for Grampian television, didn't you? Your own one that you run for a wee while.
That's Northern Nights.
Northern Nights. That's right. And when did you do the shindig thing with Sydney as well?
Yes. Yep.
Unfortunately, we lost poor Sydney.
I know.
Sydney Devine's gone. It's a very sad thing.
We done a lot of laughs. I mean, Sydney, to be fair, I mean, he was a big star anyway, but he should have had his television series long before then, you know, just the way things worked. He didn't, well, he was never contacted properly to do it, or he'd been offered it and thought, no, I'm not wanting that, you know, because he was so self-contained, said, apart from being a star and that. But when it came to Shindig, you know, by that time he thought he wanted to be, you know, a television presenter, and we had a lot of laughs because the two, I don't know if you saw many of them, but we used to do this comedy thing. He'd come and, you know, I was at, you know, I would say something like, you know, I was just, what was the gag would be something like, I was just watching you playing there, John, for the dancers. And I would go, right, aye. Oh, aye, great. Fingers like lightning, you know. Never hit the same place twice, you know. You know, that kind of, you know, take down thing. It was good, you know.
Brilliant.
You were asking me about story. One quick story, and you might have heard it before. But back to Jimmy Shand, it's just a quick one. In the middle of that tour, you know, in the middle of the tour, maybe play, you know, right across Australia, right into New Zealand, and then back over, etc. Now, obviously, when I say the big venue was the Sydney Opera House. We played that, right? Now, which was quite awe-inspiring, you see. And well, the show was supposed to be the Ian Powrie Band. And I was just there to accompany Jimmy, and that was that tour I was telling. Jimmy said, hey, when I said, what's involved? It's just you and me, son. You're accompanying me, you're with me, and the band, there's a band, Ian Pourie's got a band, you know. But Ian Powrie being the old soldier and band leader of so many years and all that, when we got to Perth for our initial rehearsals and all that, Powrie gets a hold of me at the bar. John, listen, I haven't done this band thing for so long. He said, I really just want to do a solo here in the thing, you see, and maybe accompany Jimmy. And his actual phrase was, bathe in the reflected glory. Honestly, God, I was see, so, you know, I was like, and I knew Ian and all that. There was no thing. He was an adjudicator, in fact, here I'm in Perth. So I said, well, what do you think? Well, what about me then? What do you want me to do? He says, I want you to take charge of the band. Right. So, well, is that not a bad move? So I'm thinking, I'm backing off. I'm going, well, ask Jimmy if it's okay. I'm thinking, oh, no. And I mean, the piano player was great. It was Walter Sinton, John Sinton's brother. Excellent. Lovely player. And I mean, he knew, you know, in every kind of a way, and I knew him. But the rest of them were bushwhackers, you know, from Australia. Please forgive me, the people from Australia. These were guys that would just have a go, and that was all happening. Good enough players, but they were just, it was a gig, because it had to be 50-50 Australian musicians, UK people. Right. So Jimmy, of course, being Jimmy, he just comes over, he goes, Ian's telling me about that, son. Just whatever is good enough for the show. I didn't mind if you want to do that and relieve the pressure on him, and I'm happy with that and everything. I'm going on, no. Anyway, so I'm in charge of the band, so you were chasing them up and trying to sort music. Long and short, it's my wee story. When we hit the Sydney Opera House, you see, everybody's quite, uptight about it because it's, well, you maybe been in it, but if you haven't been, there's no curtains and all that. It's an opera house, so it's on massive fancy roof. And when you go out on the stage, it's like a tennis court, and you're sinking in the carpet. It's just so plush. So, and the show used to start, right? The band went, a typical show like that. The band went on stage and we played a wee tune or two. There was about 6 years or 7 years. We played a wee tune or two, and then I would do this announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary Jimmy Shand, right? And then we'd walk out, well, he'd walk on, and the two of us would walk to the front, to the two front risers, and then he'd just play. See, so I was thinking to myself, well, there's no great nerves in a way because you'd done it so often, but this was a wee bit different. You were like, geez, So I'm out at the front, we play a wee tune, wee jig or two, and then, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the legendary Jimmy Shand. And out comes Jimmy with the wee box. Wanders up. Right. Well, the thing that many of us, even my age group, didn't realise how big a star he was, Yeah. The punters are right up out the seats. Now, he hadn't been there for about 10 years. And I'm going, Jimmy, my uncle's asking for me in Auchtermuchty, and I'm for Perthshire, and this is for Aberdeen. And there was about, that was all going on and on. And Jimmy's standing there, well, as you'll know from the photos, impassive, with the box like that. So I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, well, he's got to start. You see, so I'm kind of looking, what's happening? And eventually he leans over. He says, I wish they would sit down, son, till we get a wee tune, eh? And that's the place apart. And but it was, having said that, that was Jimmy's, what he looked like, but he was a great guy. He loved the jokes and he was very quiet, very sincere, and he knew what he wanted, If you did any wee fancy chords, you give a look, go like that. But if it was somebody in the piano or somebody else, you go like that. Never mind the broken glass, son, just play a thump. Well, for Ross's benefit, that's the running up and down the keyboard, the broken glass is Pam used.
So backing singers and that, though, that's quite a different thing again as well, isn't it? And you've done quite a lot of that with Callum and Alistair Gillis. That would have taken you all over Canada, America, everywhere, probably.
Well, yes, indeed. Callum and I did. Alistair played more. We did these Cayleys, and just incidentally, that Cayley thing, that was the first time I'd ever heard of the Cape Breton Fiddlers.
Oh yeah.
None of us here, to my knowledge, had heard of them in the early 70s. There's only one guy that had come over, was a guy, John Allen Cameron. You may or may not have heard of him. And he played the guitar, but he played the pipe tunes on the guitar. He was really good, at that. He played a 12-string. It was Cape Breton style, but it was great. And he played the fiddle too, John Allen, nice guy. He was a big star by this time. And anyway, what was I going to say about them? We did the show, and the producer of this show was a mad Irishman from County Cork. Charlie Reynolds was his name. He came over and talked me into giving up my teaching job to go. You see, he was that kind of guy. Tell me, the money's really good for this job, John. No, it's not just about money, as you know. But suddenly when you're hit with things that, like is about 4 times your salary, then maybe if I'd been more sensible when you've done it, but you kind of go, wait a minute. And I'd left teaching twice before anyway, so it wasn't a big deal other than the fact I was promoted, Think of the pension, no. Anyway, the longest short is this Charlie, he confided quite a lot. Although Alistair was the star of the show, he presented it, but everybody and their cousin came over, the Alexander brothers, Alistair MacDonald, Moira Thingamajiggery. Every one of the Scots acts came over and took part in this Cayley show. And then this Charlie, once he started to run out of the big names, Arthur Spink and Dennis Clancy, they were over 3 times. So all these kind of folk came, and I was involved. I was in the band. The Cape Breton Fiddlers were their self-contained thing, and I kind of played along with them. But I was in the band for backing the singers, right, which was just the bass, piano, and me. And anyway, Charlie now and again would say, do you know anybody that plays in Canada, John, that we could get? It's a bit cheaper, like for travel. I mean, I really didn't. But then, somewhere along the line, at the back of my mind, the name Stan Hamilton came to me.
Oh, yeah.
And at that time, now this is the band. Well, for Ross's thing, this is the crowd that put together the little thing called the Flying Scotsman. That all the box players play, and many other things. And I didn't know them or anything. And I said, well, there's a band over here that are kind of called the Andrew Rankin Band of North America, because I'd heard a couple of play and they were very, very good, you see. Yeah. So anyway, I tracked them down. Charlie says to me, if you can track them down, we'll book them. Right. So I did know a guy in Toronto and I phoned him. I said, you ever heard of this band? Oh, Christian, they're well known here. They've got a summer show and they've got this. Right. Can you get me a number? And I said, I've got a number. He says, right, you do the deal. Never mind the money. Just phone them and see if they're interested. So, and I phoned and I got Stan, who'd been out there at that point for about 25 years. And he was as ayrshire as the day he left. You know, people tend to lose the accent. But I mean, mainly what my findings in Australia, it wasn't so much that you become an RZ and you want to do that. No, because when you go to the railway station in Australia, I stayed in a place called Hurstville, right? Now, what could be more Scottish than that? So you go to the guy and he'll go, yeah, where you going? So you go, return to Hurstville. And you look at the ticket that comes out, it's got Erskeville on it or Erskineville or, I mean, any. And you go, no. So you end up having to use their accent. I want to go to Hurstville, right? So you can see I'm bilingual. So there was all that. And I get this, I get Stan Hamilton. He says, I think I've heard it. Well, you know, here with Andy Stewart and that. I said, aye, that's right. Aye. What can I do for you in that? I said, well, do you fancy going on the television? You see? And he went, what television is it? I said, it's CBC, same as the BBC, coast to coast. Oh, I've never been on that. All these years, never been on it. I said, well, it's not up to me. I said, the producer director has asked me to contact you. So if you're interested and you think you can do it, I'll tell him and you can sort it out with him. That would be great. So cut a long story short, he got the gig and he arrived with a full band. Bobby Brown, it was that. Uh-huh. Bobby Threw was there, the box player. And, and Stan himself played the piano. It was a terrific band. And to be honest, when I was in Australia, that was the first time, to digress slightly, that I ever heard pipes being, joined by accordions and things. Long before we thought of it here. They were doing it out there. It was a bit kind of ropey though, obviously the tuning and that. But Stan and them had it down to a T. There was a guy, again, you might have known him. He was the pipe major of the Toronto Scottish band. I can't mention John Wakefield. He was a piper with them. And what they used to do, they would come on and the band would play Kenmure's On in a Wall. That was the tune. And that's going on as they do an A. And then the piper just walked on, no drones, but he started immediately. Wallop, don't get it right up to B flat. A great effect and a big roll for the boys. First time I'd ever heard that. I've copied it umpteen times. But I can't get the rest of the boys to play it now, we did use it. It was very effective. They dreamt it up. They had great ideas. Anyway, that was the Canada thing and backwards and forwards.
So you were over there, Callum, and Callum Kennedy. That must have been quite an experience as well.
Aye. And I mean, that was, if you ever saw, I shouldn't be saying it here, but the Commando Course video they made of thing. Aye, well, the wee comedian that was on that, Lou Grant, you may have known the guy, Lou. He was on that tour. It was Callum Kennedy. Lou Grant was a comedian on it, and it was John Shearer, a chap from a comedy magician, smashing guy. We had a great group, and but they were. I was okay. I was kind of pally with Callum. At that point, and they were boring. But anyway, I should tell you just very quickly how I met Callum, if you like. I didn't really know him. I mean, I knew of him and had heard him singing all that before I went to Australia. But this would be around about 1969, I think, 70, but 69, 70. Anyway, I wasn't long back. I'd done the Jim Johnson thing. And then I was back in Glasgow and thinking about a job and thinking about, I better need to get something, blah, blah, blah. And then I did a couple of gigs for Andrew Rankin, who lived down in Whitley Bay. Mm-hmm. Now, he was the only person in the country other than Ian Cordovox McDonald who had a Cordovox. This was the first electronic accordion with that bass. Yeah. We'll all know about it. But I now had one because I had bought one in Australia, brought it back, you see, and Andrew still had one. So when I get back, Anyway, at one point, phone goes. Here's Andrew Rankin. You see, now Andrew was renowned for double gigs, as many band leaders were, and all sorts of other ducking and diving. Now, I'm sure his wife is late. He died, of course, unfortunately. His wife wouldn't mind me telling the stories anyway, but Andrew was a past master at, hello, yeah, I'm not going to manage. My father's just died, so I'm making the funeral arrangements. I'll get you next time. Poof. Right. We'll go to Dunvegan then, right? Oof. You see, so that was all going on, very, very unprofessional, but that was the way it worked. So anyway, here I'm sitting in the house, phone goes, here's Andrew. How's it going, John? Aye, no bad. Listen, I've got a bit of bother, he said. And I knew he was about to do a television series with Callum Kennedy, and my old pal was playing the fiddle on it, Charlie Cowie. So So Andrew had come up. He'd done some gigs with Callum, and of course the Cordovox with electric bass and the fiddle, they could do away with 2 players, right? Mm-hmm. So is that not attractive to the star of the show, who's making a fortune anyway, but cut down more money for the musicians, you see? So he comes on, Andrew goes, I am booked to do this television series with Callum. It's his first television series, and I'm sure it was. It was made in the Grampian Studios in Edinburgh, and it was called, or to be called, Round at Callum's. You might have seen a record come out after of it, but it was Callum and his family. They're all very young, everything. So he says, I'm booked for that. He says, but I'm not doing it. See, so he says, I feel a broken leg coming on, so I may get sued for this. Anyway, Carl also oh, there you are, look at that. John Allen Cameron from 45 years. That was that singer. Anyway, Callum, he says, I said, well, I'm not going to be involved in any kind of No. He says, I'll sort all that out. In fact, I said, well, the other thing, I've never played on television. I said, that would be too nervous. I mean, and I don't know the guy, and I don't know, it's too much. Right, he says, I'll tell you what, I've got the music for the first show here. I'll send you it up now. I said, right, okay, that's the deal. I'll see what the music looks like, and if it doesn't look outrageous, and we'll see. The music came, and it was actually pretty straightforward. You see? I said, man, is that all right? And the reason was they wanted to use this Cordovox sounds for the intro to the show, with the kind of flute playing and a load of rubbish, all on sustain that everybody hates. They liked it at the start. You see? So I said, the music looks no bad. Right, I'm going to phone Callum and I'll give him your number. He doesn't know you, I don't think. I said, no. Next thing, phone. Hello, is that John Carmichael? I said, it's Callum Kennedy here. You see, and I'm doing the kind of, the who? Well, look, Ross, when you're brought up in Govan, you've got to have a wee bit of a front, So, can you take the first hook? So I go, oh, yes, Callum, yes, I've heard you often, blah, blah, blah. Now, he said, I believe you play the accordion, but I don't know you, and I've never heard of you. So you go, well, so what? He said, no, I've got a bit of a crisis in my hands. He said, I've got a television series starting next week in Edinburgh. 14 shows. I mean, it was a big run. You see, 14 shows, and the accordion player is in hospital, and he's highly recommended you. I'm like, oh Jesus! So I said, anyway, I've got to meet you. I said, right. Well, where do you live? I said, I'm in Glasgow. Oh, so am I. He said, can you just bring your accordion and come over to my house this afternoon? I need to get this sorted. Right. So you see on the West End of Glasgow. So I'm in the car and I'm saying, oh dear, way over West End, up near this big house he was in I go. Now it's got 5 girls, and they're all young at that time, and his wife, of course, and himself. Well, hello, when you come, yes. So I did an audition in the kitchen, right? Sitting in the kitchen, and he would go, do you know this song? Do you know that? And you play it in that key, and you're going to go, well, I think so. Take it up a half tone. But somebody told him that, but he didn't know. And I went, most people get joking. What? Hey, chads. Right, you go, you thought about a wee bit and go, I'll try this. Oh, yes, that sounds more like it. Same key. Oh, I mean, just nonsense. And he's you see, but that's when you yourself, Peter, more so than the pipe. So you're looking at the hand, you're thinking he's going to find me out, but you do that. No, I didn't find out. Anyway, played that. Ended up an afternoon, Kaylee, bottle out. I had to get a taxi home. So I was thinking, sing along. He says, I think you and I will get on fine. Yes. And then, as it so happened, Bobby Harvey, whom I'm sure you know of, I don't know what happened. Charlie pulled out of it, the fiddle player. Bobby Harvey was playing the fiddle, whom I knew well, and so on and so on. So I ended up doing this first series with Callum, and we did the whole series, and that was my introduction to him. We did the record after it, and then over the years did many's a tour, and I don't think there was a real demise, because he'd cut back. But if there was a demise, it would have been after 3 weeks. I mean, I did loads of these tours up and down, really hard going. And you were always, I wouldn't say, you had to be on your mettle negotiating your fee, shall we say. There was nothing cut and dry, because there would be extras all the time, or there would be distances, or there would be, something. But it was never Callum's fault, to be fair. It was because we were inexperienced, negotiating with somebody that's professional at the game. So I would never say, your object, it's your own fault. Now that I look back, but then you're so, But anyway, the tag of my story, my last kind of big gig, we'd done 3 weeks running up and down all over the north. And he had this van, that carried all the gear in it, a big Transit, and it was terrible. Now, he was driving it to start with, but then, and there was about 5 of us, you see, we're all crammed in this and all sorts of gear. But after about 2 or 3 days, my back sped. I'm going to phone Glasgow and he had a secretary to bring up my car. John, will you take control of this? Right, so, as usual, Muggins is left with this thing, and it was terrible. The blinking ignition light kept going on and off, and various other things, and then it just drank petrol. And the tag after 3 weeks of a killer with us on these wee roads, you see, we were in Wick. I always remember the last night was Wick. What's its name? The hotel in Wick now. The
Mackay's
Hotel in Wick. Last big night, Callum, Johnny Beattie was on the show, Fiona, his daughter, all that gang. I mean, it was a big, a big group. And, well, it finished on a Saturday night, and I had a band call in Glasgow on the Sunday afternoon for Thingamajig, right? So I had to get down there. So I'd said to him 3 days before, Callum, I can't take the van back on the Sunday, right? Because the show doesn't finish till midnight, and you could be up to all hours. I've got to be down in Glasgow safely by 2 in the afternoon. Right now, that was a big long run then. There was a lot of that. The road's single track. So, no, John, there's not a problem. My secretary will take that back. You've been very good driving right through the whole thing. And see, Johnny Beattie had a car, so I was going to go back with him. And anyway, cut a long story short, we'll get paid at the end. Night's over. Callum comes to me, John, I have a favour. Rosemary's not well. The girl can't drive the thing back tomorrow. Can you take it? I said, I was thinking to myself, will it be there in time? I said, is it full of petrol? Because this is a Sunday morning, right? Which is not exactly Sauchiehall Street, or even Kingussie or Perth or wherever. So I said, only in the condition it's full of petrol. He gets her in. Rosemary, I filled the car today, Callum, it's filled right to the top. So I'm thinking to myself, right, this is 1 a.m. I thought, right, if I leave about 4 a.m, I'll just go up and sit and have a couple of cups of coffee and set out. So I get in the thing, go down, they're all in bed by this time out, start it up. It's not even half full. Not even half full. Well, what do? You see? So I thought, right, and I was absolutely bailing. So I just absolutely belted it. I thought, right, well, we'll just go as far as we can, and then we'll see. And of course, all these gears in it, the sound equipment and records and all that nonsense. Right, so I'm hammering this thing down the road, and at that time, there's not a thing. And I mean, you can hear it banging and clattering and crying, and the lights coming on, and it's glowing, and it's going out, and then, So I can't remember just exactly where I was. Let me think. It doesn't matter. Down the road a good bit anyway. And by this time it's about 9 o'clock. And I knew, I'd fixed with Johnny Beattie. I said, when are you leaving, Johnny? Oh, well, he said, I'll not be leaving till about 9, because leave at 9, I'll make it by then. I said, well, look, I'll be at con for this van. Whatever happens, keep an eye out for me. Right. So eventually, wherever I am, Laird, down about Laird somewhere, bang! I looked, petrol, stopped. And I get out, and at this point, it's, 8 a.m, and I'm going around kicking it. And what comes round the corner? I mean, talk about praying. An AA van. an AA van at that time in the morning in that road. And I waved the guy down. No, Callum's in the relay. Anyway, thank goodness. Boy comes out. What's wrong? I said, we're out of petrol, but there's something seriously wrong. It's banging and crashing. Puts petrol in, starts it up. He said, the cylinder head gasket has gone. You can't drive that. He said, but we'll put it in a truck today back to Glasgow. Where do you want to go? I said, well, if you could drop me at the wherever, I'll get the car. The long and short is I get the car back. And then the big long story in a way, but nothing. After that, Callum used to say, yes, John worked a lot with me. He was fine. He fitted in so well. He knew all the tunes and he was a nice man to work with. But I tell you this, don't take him out because he blows your van up on the Wick Road. What are we doing? Oh,
brilliant story. Yeah. I think that leads us in nicely to your last set here quickly. I can't believe the size of the audience that's watching us tonight. I just can't believe this. It's just bigger audience than we've ever had. It's just brilliant. So
begging letters I sent out must be paying off.
So I think what we'll do, we'll play a wee set of tunes and then come back and say cheerio to you. But I think it's a wee set of Gaelic waltzes you've got for us this time, was it?
Yeah, well, I was going to start. I think it was Glenvallahool. It was a Ballahoolish Glen. I just did slow, and then some of my favourite tunes that we don't hear all the time. Well, folks up north know them.
I'll tell you who sent a couple of messages in tonight. John's Graham Jameson, because Graham's up here now as well.
Of course,
so
yes.
So Graham's asking very kindly for you as well.
Oh, well, return the compliment. He did quite a few gigs and broadcasts with me at one point when before he went up to Shetland. I think he actually even did Balmoral.
Oh yes, of course you do the Balmoral gig as well, don't you, for the Queen?
Well, it did. I don't know what's going to happen now.
Anyway, here's those Gaelic waltzes. Here they are.
All right. Well, a wee Gaelic tune or two. Well, a wee Gaelic tune or two. few popular Gaelic tunes. We better stop there before we send everyone to sleep. Anyway, lovely to play the wee tunes for you. And
Fantastic, John. Really
you're still
good.
awake. You're still awake.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
What a lovely way to finish a show, really. Just beautiful melodies and what it's all about, really.
Thanks very much. Ah, grand. And
What
my
it's all
favourite.
about.
Fantastic.
Alan Barnett was on there saying he's had a wonderful afternoon. He's out in the Canadian-US border somewhere, and he said he met you. And I remember, what was the ship that Andrew Rankin was resident on, or something for a wee while?
Oh, the Queen Mary.
He met you in the Queen Mary once. He was telling me once as well.
That's right. But then I've seen him. I saw him in Vancouver as well.
Yeah.
He was brought up beside Andrew. I think he was kind of pally.
That's
He
it.
plays
Yeah,
the box.
that's it.
He plays the box too.
John, can I thank you so much? It's been unbelievable the amount of people and the messages we've got in tonight. It's just incredible. You're just seeing some of them. There's hundreds there. If you watch it back live, the show, you'll see everything. It's amazing. So many people asking for you. So many people enjoyed the show. I've really enjoyed the show.
Me too. So I
saw Ross just chuckling away to himself there as well. No, it's great. It's lightsome in these times, and we just try to. That's it. Look at there. There's Vivian Dunlop's in Australia. She sent me some pipe music to Australia. That has to be a bloody ripper of a show. You would have to say that in an Australian accent, wouldn't you? To get
it's a ripper. It's a ripper.
So, well, listen, John, thank you so much for giving up time and coming and entertaining everybody. And folks, watch out for John whenever he's about. And we still got CDs and all that folk can buy somewhere.
There's some online, but I don't really bother now. I get fed up with it. Keeping up with the thing. No, but thank you very much for inviting me. Anytime you're looking for somebody, just give us a shout. But enjoyed it very much.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for giving up your time, John. Thank you.
Not at all. See you again, Ross.
Yeah.
See
you, John. See you. Thank you.
Right.
Oh wow, what an amazing guest.
Yeah, amazing. I think John spoke for about 2 hours solid there. I wonder if did he get his vaccine jab today, do you think?
Maybe.
Sign me up. Sign me up.
He's got him good. He's great.
What a great show.
A career, because he took the opportunities and the chance to do it, and it's the way it works sometimes, isn't it?
And that was back in the day when you had to go physically to these places. You he talked about going from one end of Australia to the other, one end of Canada, America, one end of Britain up to Wick, and halfway back,
on single track roads.
Aye. And single cylinder transit vans, by the sounds of it.
There's always, I don't know what it is about bands that we always seem to buy the dodgiest vans on the go. I don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things. But anyway, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. Folks, that's been over nearly 2.25 hours a night or something.
Mm-hmm.
Karen, Fantastic. Thank you so much, my dear, back stage there. Happy Valentine's Day to you. You've made a wonderful job because there was videos going all over the place. And all I'd like to say is thanks to Donald McPhee. That was inspirational as well. And then John Carmichael, one of my heroes. So I'm just a happy laddie tonight. I'm away to sit and have a cup of tea.
Good stuff.
So I hope folks have all enjoyed it out there. And if you can join us on Wednesday night at 8:30, we'll tell you who we've got as guests for you next week. And it's a couple of crackers as well. I'm really looking forward to next week as well. So this wee show's going great. Enjoy, folks. Thanks very much. Anything else to say tonight, Roscoe?
No, it's just a fantastic thanks to both the guests again. They've been absolutely fantastic. And the audience couldn't ask for better.
Nah, fantastic. Thanks to you all for tuning in, folks. And we'll see you Wednesday and let you know what's happening the week after. So you'll get us Wednesday live on Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and Twitch and all that as well. Mm-hmm. So it's a good night for me.
And a good night from him.
All right. See ya. Bye.